Good evening. Good evening, shining stars. How are you tonight? You are ready to turn out the lights and ready to have a story time in our lovely corner. It's finished turning out the lights. Did you guys turn out your lights yet? Get a blanket. Get cozy. Ready for more through the looking glass. It's light. Our candles. I have a different candle there. Got 2 small. Oh. These matches are the worst. They're so old. And this strip is like worn. Keep trying. I think I have lighted down here. There we go. I always get it in the end. That was rough, sorry. There we go. I left a little piece of the match in there. It's a pretty candle. Coconut Ghost. Love a good candle. This one's really low too. I need to get some new candles. Oh, one already went out. I better quit messing with it. Okay. Put my matches. Oh hey, how are you, shining stars? Let's get back to this book. Okay. I hope you all had a wonderful, what day is it? Wednesday? I had a long day. I'm ready to read a story for sure. Okay, so we had just started through the looking glass, and Alice had been talking to the cats, and she decided to go through the looking glass over her fireplace, and she said it kind of became like soft, like a net. She just went through and everything's kind of mixed up over there. So, and she was playing with the chess set in her version of the world, and on the other version, through the looking glass, the chess pieces are alive, but they can't see her. And she was helping them up off the floor, and it got knocked down. And since they can't see her, they're freaking out, just getting lifted up into the air and placed, so they don't know what's going on. That's what this picture is of. Alright. So she lifted the king up. So we'll start there. So Alice lifts the king up, and he's making all kinds of faces. She's, "Oh, please don't make such faces, my dear," she cried out, quite forgetting that the king couldn't hear her. "You make me laugh so that I can hardly hold you. And don't keep your mouth so wide open. All the ashes will get into it. There, now I think you're tidy enough," she added as she smoothed his hair and set him upon the table near the queen. The king immediately fell flat on his back and lay perfectly still, and Alice was a little alarmed at what she had done, and went round the room to see if she could find any water to throw over him. However, she could find nothing but a bottle of ink, and when she got back with it, she found he had recovered, and he and the queen were talking together in a frightened whisper, so low that Alice could hardly hear what they said. The king was saying, "I assure you, my dear, I turned cold to the very ends of my whiskers," to which the queen replied, "You haven't got any whiskers." "The horror of that moment," the king went on, "I shall never, never forget." "You will, though," the queen said, "if you don't make a memorandum of it." Alice looked on with great interest as the king took an enormous memorandum book out of his pocket and began writing. A sudden thought struck her, and she took hold of the end of the pencil, which came some way over his shoulder, and began writing for him. The poor king looked puzzled and unhappy, and struggled with the pencil for some time without saying anything. But Alice was too strong for him. At last he panted out, "My dear, I really must get a thinner pencil. I can't manage this one bit. It writes all manner of things that I don't intend." "What manner of things?" said the queen, looking over the book, in which Alice had put, "The White Knight is sliding down the poker. He balances very badly." "That's not a memorandum of your feelings." There was a book lying near Alice on the table, and while she sat watching the White King, for she was still a little anxious about him, and had the ink all ready to throw over him in case he fainted again, she turned over the leaves to find some part that she could read. "For it's all in some language I don't know," she said to herself. "Oh my goodness, what is that a picture of? Oh, that's horrifying. Oh, and it's Alice. Oh, I forgot what they called that thing. Oh, the Jabberwocky, that's right. The Jabberwocky. It was like this. So it was backwards. Let's see if we could read it. Jabberwocky. 'Twas. I don't know. Was something and the Scythy. I don't know if I'm gonna attempt this. Very strange. It just looks to be backwards. But we'll see. Because here it is. Oh yeah, they're kind of nonsense words. Okay, so it was like this. She puzzled over this for some time, but at last a bright thought struck her. Why, it's a looking glass book, of course, and if I hold it up to the glass, the words will all go the right way again. This was the poem that Alice read. Oh, that's so cool, since it was on the other side of the glass. It's, of course, upside down like everything else. Jabberwocky. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toes did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand. Long time the max gnome foe he sought. The man's home foe he thought he sought. So he rested, he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffing through the tugly wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with his head he went galumphing back. I like that. Practice it. Thank you guys for struggling with me through that. I just read to you like I would read to, like I read to my kids. And anybody else who wanted a story, just give it my best shot. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, Calab Caloy. Caloob Calais. Oh, come into my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, Caloo Calais. He chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig in the slithy toes, did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the burrow groves, and the mome-raths outgrabe. It seems very pretty, she said when she had finished it, but it's rather hard to understand. I agree. You see, she didn't like to confess even to herself that she couldn't make it out at all. Somehow it seems to fill my head with ideas, only I don't exactly know what they are. However, somebody killed something, that's clear, at any rate. But oh, thought Alice, suddenly jumping up, if I don't make haste, I shall have to go back through the looking-glass before I've seen what the rest of the house is like. Let's have a look at the garden first. She was out of the room in a moment, and ran downstairs, or at least it wasn't exactly running, but a new invention for getting downstairs quickly and easily, as Alice said to herself. She just kept the tips of her fingers on the handrail, and floated gently down without even touching the stairs with her feet. And then she floated on through the hall, and would have gone straight out the door the same way if she hadn't caught hold of the doorpost. She was getting a little giddy with so much floating in the air, and was rather glad to find herself walking again in the natural way. Chapter 2, The Garden of Live Flowers. Oh, this is my favorite scene in the movie version, the Disney movie, when she's singing with the flowers. Absolutely amazing. Great scene. We'll do a couple pages of the next chapter before we go to sleep. Maybe just a few more pages. A couple. Okay. The Garden of Live Flowers. I should see the garden far better, said Alice to herself, if I could get to the top of that hill. And here's a path that leads straight to it. At least, no, it doesn't do that. After going a few yards along the path and turning several sharp corners. But I suppose it will last. But how curiously it twists. It's more like a corkscrew than a path. Well, this turn goes to the hill, I suppose. No, it doesn't. This goes straight back to the house. Well, then, I'll try the other way. And so she did, wandering up and down, and trying to turn after turn, but always coming back to the house, do what she would. Indeed, once when she turned a corner rather more quickly than usual, she ran against it before she could stop herself. It's no use talking about it, Alice said, looking up at the house and pretending it was arguing with her. I am not going in again. I know I should have to get through the looking glass again back into the old room, and there'd be the end of all my adventures. So, resolutely turning her back upon the house, she set out once more down the path, determined to keep straight on till she got to the hill. For a few moments, all went on well, and she was just saying, "I really shall do it this time," when the path gave a sudden twist and shook itself, as she described it afterwards, and the next moment she found herself actually walking in at the door. "Oh, it's too bad," she cried. "I never saw such a house for getting in the way. Never." However, there was still the hill in full sight, so there was nothing to be done but start again. This time she came upon a large flower bed with a border of daisies and a willow tree growing in the middle. "Oh, Tiger Lily," said Alice, addressing herself to one that was waving gracefully about in the wind, "I wish you could talk." "We can talk," said the Tiger Lily, "when there's anybody worth talking to." Alice was so astonished that she couldn't speak for a minute. It seemed to take her breath away. At length, as the Tiger Lily only went on waving about, she spoke again in a timid voice, almost in a whisper. "And can all the flowers talk?" "As well as you can," said the Tiger Lily, and a great deal louder. It isn't manners for us to begin, you know," said the Rose, "and I really was wondering when you'd speak. Said I to myself, her face has got some sense in it, though she's not a clever one. Still, you're the right color, and that goes a long way." "I don't care about the color," the Tiger Lily remarked. "If only her petals curled up a little more, she'd be all right." Alice didn't like being criticized, so she began asking questions. "Aren't you sometimes frightened of being planted out here with nobody to take care of you?" "There's a tree in the middle," said the Rose. "What else is it good for?" "But what could it do if any danger came?" Alice said. "It could bark," said the Rose. "It says, 'Bow wow,'" cried a daisy. "That's why its branches are called boughs." "Didn't you know that?" cried another daisy. And here they all began shouting together till the air seemed quite full of little shrill voices. "Silence, every one of you," cried the Tiger Lily, waving itself passionately from side to side and trembling with excitement. "They know I can't get at them," it panted, bending its quivering head towards Alice, "or they wouldn't dare to do it." "Never mind," Alice said in a soothing tone, and stooping down to the daisies, who were just beginning again, she whispered, "If you don't hold your tongues, I'll pick you." There was silence in the moment, and several of the pink daisies turned white. "That's right," said the Tiger Lily. "The daisies are worst of all. When one speaks, they all begin together, and it's enough to make one wither to hear the way they go on." "How is it you can all talk so nicely?" Alice said, hoping to get into a better temper by a compliment. "I've been in many gardens before, but none of the flowers could talk." "Put your hand down and feel the ground," said the Tiger Lily. "Then you'll know why." Alice did so. "It's very hard," she said, "but I don't see what that has to do with it." "In most gardens," the Tiger Lily said, "they make the beds too soft, so that the flowers were always asleep." This sounded like a very good reason, and Alice was quite pleased to know it. "I never thought of that before," she said. "It's my opinion that you never think at all," said the Rose in a rather severe tone. "I never saw anybody that looked stupider," a Violet said, so suddenly that Alice quite jumped, for it hadn't spoken before. "Hold your tongue," cried the Tiger Lily, "as if you ever saw anybody. You keep your head under the leaves and snore away there till you know no more what's going on in the world than if you were just a bud." Are there any more people in the garden besides me? Alice said, not choosing to notice the rose's last remarks. There's one flower in the garden that can move about like you, said the rose. I wonder how you do it. You're always wondering, said the tiger lily, but she's more bushy than you are. Is she like me? Alice said eagerly, for the thought crossed her mind. There's another little girl in the garden somewhere. Well, she has the same awkward shape as you, the rose said, but she's redder, and her petals are shorter, I think. They're done up close like a dahlia, said the tiger lily, not tumbled about like yours. But that's not your fault, the rose added kindly. You're beginning to fade, you know, and then one can't help one's petals getting a little untidy. Alice didn't like this idea at all, so to change the subject, she asked, Does she ever come out here? I dare say you'll see her soon, said the rose. She's one of the kind that has 9 spikes, you know. Where does she wear them? Alice said asked with some curiosity. Why, all around her head, of course, the rose replied. I was wondering you hadn't got some too. I thought it was the regular rule. She's coming, cried the larkspur. I heard her footstep thump, thump along the gravel walk. Alice looked round eagerly and found it was the Red Queen. She's grown a good deal, was her first remark. She had indeed. When Alice had first found her in the ashes, she had only been 3 inches high, and here she was, half a head taller than Alice herself. It's the fresh air that does it, said the rose. Wonderfully fine air it is out here. I think I'll go and meet her, said Alice, for though the flowers, were interesting enough, she felt it would be far grander to have a talk with a real queen. You can't possibly do that, said the rose. I should advise you to walk the other way. And we will stop there since I am tripping over my words, getting a little tired. I'm sleepy. I hope you guys are sleepy too. I hope you enjoyed our reading time tonight. And let's see. I think I'll be able to read tomorrow too. I think I'll try.